If you love Baltimore sports, you'll love WNST.net.
Website is pastusa.com. Our guest is Ray Lucas, longtime NFL quarterback. I don't know if you know or not, but there's been a debate about air pressure in footballs here this week.
How many times are you going to be asked that question this week?
It's early in the week. It's early in the week.
First of all, as soon as it happened, me being in New York and doing all my TV shows out there, MSNBC, CNN, I got calls from everybody. Ray, can you come on at 7:30 in the morning?
You were a quarterback, right? We want to talk to you, right?
Yeah. Can you? We need somebody that's opinionated. I'm very opinionated, and I kind of stayed away from it. Mm-hmm. When I played, we used to kill the balls because we were allowed to. We would take them in the parking lot, scrape them up.
Right.
Get them a little tactfully, then put them in the dryer, cook them up a little bit. But we were allowed to.
You were trying to soften the ball, not the air in the ball?
We were trying to get that glossy crap off the ball, and the only way you could do it is literally be in the parking lot and rub it on the freaking concrete. And then you would take the balls and heat them up so it would get back to that nice, supple, if I may, feel with the football. But we were allowed to. I mean, even back then, the kicker balls, those guys used to put their knee and put it into the ground on the point so the ball would be fatter this way instead of long ways. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So it's sweet spot to kick the football.
So it looked more like a rugby ball.
Correctamundo. Right. And they would kick it farther. All that stuff.
Happy Days watcher. I like that. That's very good.
But here's
cool
the
like
thing.
The Fonz.
Here's the thing. The balls are now given to the officials before the game starts. It's their job to make sure the balls are inflated to the right capacity. I don't understand how, listen, when you get beat 47-7, you could have got beat with a beach ball. And that's the case. Is it because, somebody from Baltimore, when you're using a wide receiver as a he can't catch the ball, but you still move him out and you're taking the guy out of the box? I don't know what the hell's going on. But if I got my rear end kicked in 47-7, the last thing I'd be talking about is the footballs.
So you don't think it's a problem?
If somebody did something illegal, yeah, it's a problem.
Well, it clearly was illegal, right?
But
that much we can't even argue whether it's legal or illegal.
If the game was a 7-point game, I could see people, they got their rear ends kicked in. So, like I said, it didn't matter because the ball was deflated. Blunt ran for 3 touchdowns and almost 180 yards. What does that got to do with anything?
In your mind, is this more a potential NFL issue because of the protocol that the officials handle it, they inspect it, but then they give the balls back to the ball boy on the sideline, and there's some amount of time there where I guess you could get away with something.
Why are they giving the balls back that early anyway?
Well, and that's I've talked about this with him. To me, and I'm not absolving the Patriots. I don't know. We'll see if anything comes out of this. I'm guessing it's probably going to be very
something we talk about for a week, and that's the end.
It's going to be ambiguous, and maybe they get a slap on the wrist, maybe they get a fine. But to me, if the league wants to be in control of those balls, to me, they should have the footballs until the game is kicked off, and then it's like, okay, that's that.
But I thought that's the way it was.
Right.
I'm just finding out now that, the guys check the balls and they give them back 2 hours before. What's the purpose of giving the referees the ball in the first place? You know what I mean? If you're going to give me the balls back in 2 hours.
If you're allowed to alter them, right?
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
You're opening the door for somebody to say, hey, wait a second.
Yeah, I mean, to me, the solution here that I think you could end up seeing, and quarterbacks probably won't like this, but there'll be some kind of standard way that the league preps footballs, and it might be taken out of the quarterback's hands entirely, and then they just have to deal with it.
You heard Pete Carroll say today or yesterday in his press conference that he also there's no possible way a head coach because they never get involved in anything that has to do with the footballs. That's something totally separate. So when you hear Pete Carroll say something like that and be backing up Bill Belichick saying,
when Belichick said it looked like he was throwing Brady under the bus,
right?
From the beginning.
Well, here's the other funny part too. When Brady says, "Not that I'm aware," are you guilty in altering the balls? Not that. If I called my wife and if she called me and said, "Ray, are you cheating on me?" and I said, "Not that I'm aware of," I give you a 90% chance she's at the lawyer's office and I'm getting served in about 3 days.
How about just no?
Yeah, how about just emphatic? I would have been like, hell no, I didn't do anything. How am I supposed to? I didn't do nothing.
Right.
Not that I'm aware of. Does that not leave the door wide open for people to interpret that maybe he did or maybe he didn't?
Someone said, and you being a Fonz fan and a Happy Days fan, you'll appreciate this. Someone said he looked like Eddie Haskell.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it was very sort of, all right, sure, I'm probably guilty, but you can't prove it, and I'm going to sit here for 45 minutes, and here we go.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Not that I'm aware of doesn't help me say, okay, well, he had no part in it.
Well, and one of the damning pieces from when he spoke was he was very specific as saying he likes footballs at 12.5 PSI.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's clearly...
Well, he said this before, too, a couple of years ago. That he likes the ball deflated.
But then when he's asked if he was so specific that he likes the football that way, and then he's asked, well, didn't you notice anything different about those footballs being underinflated? And he said he didn't notice. Is that something, as a quarterback, that you would feel a difference in?
100%, yes.
Okay.
Main reason is when it's very cold outside, the ball
becomes a rock, right?
Shrinks a little bit, okay? The outside becomes very hard to grasp. Now, if you take a little bit of pressure out of it, it becomes where your fingertips could get into that leather a little bit. So there is a difference throwing the football. Now, I can't say, back when I played, we murdered those balls.
Right.
You know what I mean? And we made sure it was enough for us to feel good about them. Nowadays, you can't do that anymore. The kickers can't put their knee into the ground. The only way they could do it was with their hand. The game has changed. It's always evolving. So, again, I think because of this, we'll never have to talk about the supple feel of a football again as far as that, because I think rules are going to start changing where if the referees have the balls, they don't bring them back out until the start of the game.
Well, yeah, it'll never be a problem again.
No.
Right? I mean,
absolutely
it's been discussed. We all know too much about Tom Brady's balls at this point.
I'll let you say that. I'm not even going to say that.
Ray Lucas is here, pastusa.com. Former NFL players are out launching a youth sports education and the film screenings of the United States of football. You go to pastusa.com. Ray, it's always good to see you.
It's
and better than that,
guys too.
Honestly, 5-6 years ago, we met. You come by every year. I think when you left the table, we all looked at each other and said, man, worried about that guy. And look at you.
Yeah,
I
made it.
A bit of a miracle,
I
man.
actually made it. When people hear the word addiction, they think of bum or a homeless guy. When they see me, it's a survivor. I made it out, taking 80 pills a day. I almost doubled your wife's intake.
And you didn't even have cancer.
No, and I was just taking them to take them. You know what I mean? And to have that suicide stuff and come out on the other side, anybody who's struggling with addiction can do what I did because I'm here.
You got a place people can find help, a website, anything like that?
When you go to pastusa.com, we got everything going up on the website.
Good.
Check it out and everything like that. So, yeah, I mean, whatever there is, I'll tell my story until the cows come home, which I live in Jersey, so we don't have any cows.
Well, you're always hoping to help somebody.
I mean, I'm serious. There's a sister, a brother, a cousin, an uncle,
somebody's
an
listening
aunt.
out there. Yeah, sure.
Somebody's suffering in silence, and they need to understand that there is a way out because I made it. And the majority of the guys that, and the girls that are out there, when you have a pill addiction, it gets pretty expensive pretty quickly. I mean, I've lost my home. I lost everything, my business. I've lost everything. But I'm getting it all back. My life is so simple right now is that the fact that sometimes we lose sight of what's important. My wife and my kids. Everything else after that is secondary.
Ray Lucas here. PastUSA.com is the website. Always good to see you, bro.
My
elbows
pleasure.
up. Elbows
My pleasure.
up.
That's right.
There he goes. Ray Lucas. We'll step out, take a break. You can email Luke at WNST.net. You can also find us, of course, on Twitter, on Facebook. All of the cool stuff we do at WNST there for you 24 hours a day in the Buy a Toyota Audio Vault. We are WNST.net at AM 1570 and WNST Towson, Baltimore. We are live in Phoenix at Super Bowl 49, and we never stop talking Baltimore sports.
If you love Baltimore sports, you'll love WNST.net.